New York is one of only two states in the country where 16 and 17-year-olds are charged with crimes as adults. Last month, Governor Cuomo announced plans to raise the criminal responsibility age by 2018. However, after a budget meeting on Thursday, officials announced raising the age would probably not make the cut. Maggie Freeling meets with youth offenders and advocates to find out why some people think this is a huge mistake.
Honestly, the longest I've been locked up, and I've been locked up maybe 10 times, maybe a little bit over that. The longest I ever spent was 2 weeks. That was when I turned 17. This was actually recently, last year in November. That I was locked up on Rikers. That was actually my second time being up there, and I hated it.
This is Thomas Maupin. He's 18 and has been in and out of trouble with the law since he was 10. He met with me in Central Park to talk about his experience in the system.
I grew up in Far Rockaway, Queens. Probably around that time was maybe the second worst projects in Far Rockaway. It was a lot of drugs flowing in and out my projects. Kind of did what most kids do, join gangs. I was blood at one point, but I dropped that when I had my daughter.
The first time Thomas was incarcerated, he was 13.
That actually was a little minor incident, and my sister had a fight, and she ended up cutting me. In return, I broke her photo I got locked up for that.
But many kids like Thomas, who commit minor offenses, are actually charged as adults.
Right now, many people don't know, it's mandatory for 16 and 17-year-olds to be sentenced and prosecuted as adults.
Serena Ligori is the associate director for Her Story Writers Workshop on Long Island.
But you can prosecute a child as young as 7 in New York State for a crime.
Advocates and officials alike argue that 16 and 17-year-olds are children and their brains are still developing.
Studies suggest that the adolescent mind is not complete until at least age 25. So you're really taking undeveloped, unformed adolescent brains and you're placing them into adult jails with adult criminals.
Mary Beth Zeman is a transitional counselor at the Nassau County Jail on Long Island.
Putting a juvenile in jail is really counterintuitive because they're not getting any counseling.
According to advocacy groups, a youth offender who is placed in the adult system has a 34% higher rearrest for felony crimes than those in the juvenile system.
The problem is that once the child enters an adult system, they're then more likely to reoffend and to reoffend as with a violent effect. Kids make poor decisions, and that doesn't mean we treat them like adults.
Thomas, who is entering the Army Reserves this summer, said if he stayed in the system longer than 2 weeks, he doesn't think he would have ever turned his life around.
Honestly, no, I would have been 1,000 times worse. If you're doing that much time, you gotta adjust to it. It's either you're gonna do the time or the time gonna do you. And I prefer to just do it.
Thomas reaffirms what advocates say and argues that kids don't know the consequences of their actions.
We don't think, that's number one. Number two is we don't care, because we don't think enough to care.
Thomas also believes there's a better approach than locking kids up.
You need to put them in a room, let them kids get some peace, do some yoga. Honestly, that's what they call it. Do some yoga, relax your mind, meditate a little bit, understand yourself. The thing that helped me change the most, like I said, was understanding that there's more than life than what appears and experiencing it.